Did you know that yogurt is one of the oldest known methods of preserving food? That's right, it is. It's about 7,000 years old is the first time that humans started recording using yogurt. And I'm going to talk to you about why we need to be making it at home and how to do it. So come on. Hey everybody, welcome back to Grumpy Acres. Well, this video is about making yogurt. This is the second time I've made this video. The first one was 2 or 3 years ago. Removed it from the channel because it's kind of, the quality's not very good, the production value's not very good, and I was asked to go ahead and make another one. So, as I said, this video is about making homemade yogurt. But before we get into it, I want to ask you to go ahead and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. We do homesteading videos like this one. We talk about preparedness and all the topics that in between that touch both sides of that house. Right? Now, let's get into talking about yogurt. So, we just came off the festival season and we've got house sitters that have been staying at the house whenever we're gone over the weekends. Well, Yoda was kind enough to buy them some yogurt. And I don't know about you, but I love some good yogurt. I desperately love yogurt. So, I was going into the refrigerator. I was gonna have this because you can have yogurt on carnivore because it's dairy based. But before I bit into this, I started looking at the ingredients. Now, this little cup has 130 calories, but the ingredients, here's some of the, and this is great value. This is great value at strawberry yogurt. So some of the ingredients, low-fat milk. The second ingredient on the list is sugar. Some more ingredients are vegetable oil for coloring. We've got gelatin. We've got all kinds of stuff in here that just doesn't come naturally in yogurt. So while this may be tasty, and I'm not going to lie, I do like store-bought yogurt with fruit in it. I'm not going to lie basically because it's sweet, and that's one of the big reasons why a lot of people like store-bought yogurt is because it's full of sugar and all these additives. Well, I can't have that. I'm back on the carnivore, and even if I wasn't on carnivore, this isn't good for you. I'm sorry, but it's not. So, we need to learn how to make our own yogurt. And I've been making yogurt at home for, gosh, going on 10 years now. I worked with a coworker that was from Yugoslavia, and she taught me how to make it, and ever since then I've been making our own yogurt. So, let's go over what we need in order to make homemade yogurt. All right, in order to make our homemade yogurt, we need some sort of container to warm the milk up in. Naturally, we need milk. This time we're using half a gallon of whole fresh cow's milk. We also need a thermometer. This time we're going to use the electronic thermometer. I would say that from a preparedness standpoint, you should probably go buy a manual thermometer, one that doesn't take batteries, because if the batteries go out, you're out of thermometer. If you've got just a regular one, in fact, I would buy 2 or 3 of them because they break. We need some sort of measuring spoon, and we need our cultures. Now, the process for making the yogurt is we've got to take the milk and we've got to heat it up to 180 degrees. And the reason why we're heating it up to 180 degrees is to kill any bacteria that's in that milk. Because once it comes out of the cow, especially the fresh milk here, it doesn't last as long, even in the refrigerator, as store-bought milk. But you want to get it up to 180 degrees to kill that bacteria, and then you let it cool down, and then you add the culture to it. So let's go ahead and get this in there, and then while that's heating up, we'll talk a little bit more about the process. Got to shake this up to get all that. There's all kinds of fat up here. We need to get that fat in there. Now we're going to put the stove on medium heat. That way we're not scorching the milk in the bottom. Speaking of the milk, so now the best milk in my opinion to use is whole milk. But you can use 2% milk, and you can even in a pinch get skim milk and use skim milk. I have found that the skim milk does not give you as good a product as those other ones because the fat content. There's not enough fat in there, which the sugars in the fat will be eaten by the yogurt or eaten by the yeast to turn it into the yogurt. So the more whole the milk is, the better you're going to be. And you don't want anything with any additives in it. You know, anything that's been processed and like the extra vitamin D or anything like that. You could probably use that, but I would just stay away from that because you never know what's actually in that. So as we're letting this heat up, let's talk about the yeast that we're going to use, the culture. So there's 3 ways that I found to get a culture for your yogurt. The first way is going to the store and buying a tub of sugar-free, unflavored yogurt. And the reason why you want it unflavored because you don't want anything artificial in it, and you don't want the sugar in there because you don't want to add that sugar into your yogurt. And it's if I remember correctly, it's half a cup for every gallon of milk. So you can see that can get kind of expensive if you're making a lot of yogurt. Second way is I like using store-bought yogurts or store-bought cultures. And the ones we're going to use tonight is this Yomix ABY2C and the yogurt type 1. Now, this one will give you a very smooth tasting, thick yogurt. Well, this type 1 is used for making Greek yogurt. So it's a little bit more tangy, and it's not quite as thick as what this makes. So I like combining these two because I like the thickness of this one and I like the tanginess of the Greek yogurt. And you can get these online. I got these off of Amazon. You can buy cultures at health food stores, and you can even go get cultures at a lot of brewery shops that sell the makings for making beer. So you can do that. Now the third way, and this is a historical method that was used by settlers, and you can get cardamom seeds, cardamom pods, and throw those in there because they are a great way to capture natural yeast. Another thing that they used was grains, freshly picked grains. If you know what kefir is, it's nothing more than kefir grain in milk, and it kind of curdles it. But you can do it that way. Or they also used to use the berries off of juniper trees, evergreens. Because if you go out and they've got that white chalky stuff on it, that is natural yeast, and you can use that. In fact, the settlers used that to make yogurt, and they used it to make sourdough starter. So you can do it that way. Personally, I'm going to try using the natural yeast and doing cardamom or juniper berries or something like that. But for the time being, I like using this because you get bang for the buck. You get more yogurt out of this than you do going to the store every time you want to make yogurt. Now, if you're in a homesteading situation or you're in you're in an off-grid situation or something like that, yes, if you've got access to dairy every single day, I would be making yogurt every day if I had the opportunity. If it was off-grid, grid down, SHTF type of situation. If I had milk every day, I'd be making yogurt every day, and I would take the yogurt from the day before and use it for the culture in the next day's yogurt. And once it's made, the yogurt will last about, I've had it last for about a week. You keep it in the refrigerator. I'm sure if it was sitting on the counter, it wouldn't, unrefrigerated, it wouldn't last quite as long. But you get what I'm talking about, right? Okay, so we're gonna, one thing I didn't tell you we needed while we're doing this is, if I can find one, a wooden or metal spoon, and that is to stir the milk. Guys, I wish you could see. Actually, you know what? Let me grab this other camera. I don't know if you guys can see it, but can you see how thick that milk is? That is the joy of having fresh cow's milk. It is so thick and tasty, it's unbelievable. So if you can get with a local dairy, try to find one and start buying your milk from them. And if your state won't allow people to sell milk, number one, move, get out of that state, or change it, vote, change, get the people in there that allow you. But better yet, find somebody who offers a cow sharing program, which is where you buy a share in a cow and you can drink the milk off the cow. You know, somebody takes care of it and everybody shares in the produce. But that's the difference between unpasteurized, whole, fresh milk versus store-bought milk. All right, let's take the temperature. Okay, that's heating up nicely. It's at about 100 degrees, got about 80 more degrees to go. So we're going to come back and check it a little bit later, and then we'll get on with what we're doing. Okay, so this spoon is going into the sink because I got yelled at because I'm not supposed to be using metal spoons in that pot. So I got one of the wooden spoons out, and we're going to be using that. Now, another reason why we want to be stirring this on a regular basis is because as the milk heats up, it's going to create a film on it, and we want to make sure we're breaking that up. Man, check out this spoon. This is a handmade spoon. William from Permapasture Farms made this, and I don't know if he's still selling them or not. They were selling handmade spoons on their Permapasture Farms store, so go check it out. I'll put a link to it down below too. But this is really cool. I thought it'd be fun to use this. Okay, our milk's reached 180 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and turn this down a little bit because I want to try to keep it there for about 5 minutes. Now some recipes say once it hits 180 you can turn it down. I just like to let it simmer for a little bit and try to keep it close to 180, then we'll let it cool down. We've let this set for about 5 minutes at 180 degrees. Now we're going to let it cool down. We're going to go ahead and turn off the oven or the stove. Now, here's what you need to do next. Well, this is cooling down. We want to get it down to about 110, 115 degrees. So we just let it cool down naturally. While we're doing that, we're going to go back over to the stove and I'm going to show you what to do next. So you want to go to your stove, and if your stove has a proof setting, you want to set it to that. Now, if you don't know what the proof setting is a setting on your oven that will keep the temperature right around 100, 110 degrees, and it's for proofing bread. So we're going to use that to keep the temperature overnight on our yogurt mix, and that will help it curdle and make it properly set. Now, if your oven does not have a proof setting, there's a couple of ways you can take care of it. Number one, use the oven. Get a towel and wrap your pot in a towel. Set the oven while the milk's cooling down. Set the oven to the lowest temperature you can get. Normally it's about 135 degrees on most ovens. But set it there while it's cooling down, and as soon as it's cooled down, turn that oven off. And then once you're done mixing the culture in with the milk, you wrap it in that towel and stick it in the oven and just let it set overnight. And the oven will maintain enough heat and the towel will maintain enough heat that after 12 hours you'll have a proper yogurt. Second way, if you don't have an oven like this, if you live in an off-grid cabin, you've got a wood stove, or you've got, you're cooking on a wood stove, what you can do is you can wrap the pot in a towel and set it near your stove overnight. And after 12 hours there, you don't want to put it too close because you don't want it cooking the milk. But after 12 hours, you'll have yogurt. So in our case, we do have a stove with a proof setting on it, and we're going to use it, and then it will keep the temperature at the proper temperature overnight. You can also use an Instapot. We've got one sitting over there, but it's full of broth right now, so I don't want to mess with it. But you can use an Instapot. The new Instapots have a yogurt setting on it. You can pour your milk into that, and it will keep it warm overnight. Or you can buy a simple yogurt maker, which is a little cups that go in a little holder that keeps it at the right temperature. So there's several different ways you do it. I like using the oven, and I've used the wood stove sometimes too. I used it once last year. So we might do a short follow-up video and show you that once winter sets in and we're using the stove on a regular basis. But like I said, today I'm using a conventional oven. All right, as you can see, we're down to 115 degrees. It's time to add our cultures. All right, so it only takes about 1/4 to 1/8 of a teaspoon for each culture to do a quart. So we're looking at a quarter teaspoon of one culture for a half gallon. I'm going to use a quarter teaspoon of each, and you can't go wrong if you use too much. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. Now we're just going to use our trusty eyeball method to measure this out. That's about right. Go ahead and put that in there, and then we'll get some from the other one. Try to spread it around. Do that. Use our spoon to get that yeast off. Now we're going to stir this well. Now these yeast packages can go back in the refrigerator and they'll last for years if they're sealed up and stored properly. So make sure you get them back in there as soon as you're done. So I'm going to stir this a little bit more and then we'll get it into the oven. We want to make sure that we're mixing this up nice and thorough. Oh yeah. Okay, we got it in the oven. We're going to leave it there for a minimum of 12 hours. And in the morning we'll pop it open and we'll see what it looks like. Remember, like I said, if you don't have a proof setting on your oven, wrap the pot in a towel, heat the oven up to the lowest temperature possible, then turn it off and stick that in there. And that way it'll maintain the heat through the night and you'll have yogurt in the morning. Also, you can set it by the stove if you're using a wood stove like we use in the wintertime to heat. That's how simple it is. We got to wait 12 hours and in the morning we'll come check it and see if we got yogurt. All right, see you in a bit. All right, it's been 12 hours, give or take, since we put our milk in the oven to become yogurt. So let's check it out. Well, there you go. All right, let's take a taste. Ooh, look how nicely that's set up. Nice and jiggly. Let's get a better look, see if you guys see it. Ooh, look at that. Let's see how it tastes. Yep. Not quite as tangy as I like it, but still very delicious. I got stuff on my beard, my mustache. There we go. I think I got it cleaned off. Well, there you go. We got fresh homemade yogurt, and that is so rich. I mean, that's probably the richest yogurt I've ever made. This is the first time I've used whole cow's milk. Now, one thing I didn't talk about last night when we were making the yogurt was the cleanliness of your utensils. Now, ideally, we would sanitize everything, and that way no foreign bacteria gets in there to mess up the yogurt. And you don't have to go to all those, you don't have to sanitize it, dump into sanitizer and stuff. I mean, the Mongolians used to make something akin to this in leather bags hung over their horses, and the heat from the horse's body temperature would make the yogurt. So, we don't have to be perfect on it, but we need to make sure everything's as clean as possible before we start. Well, I hope this video encourages you to go out and give this a try yourself. It's dead simple. You can do it, like I said, you can do it in an oven, you can do it next to a stove, you can do it in an Instapot, you can do it in a dedicated yogurt maker. It's really simple to do, and it gives you a good, high quality, healthy alternative to store-bought yogurt. All right, go ahead, if you liked the video, give us a thumbs up. Comment down below if you've made yogurt before and you've got any tips and tricks that I can share with other people. Go ahead and put them in the comment down below. Let us know what you think, okay? And as I said before, if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and think about subscribing, becoming part of our online community here. And we'd really love for you to join us on a journey towards a life done free. Till next time, I want you guys to go out and, as I just said, go live a life done free. Take care. Thanks, Milo.